Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. On this channel we talk about all things positive with your fandoms, and if that's something that appeals to you, you know you've come to the right place. We are so happy to have you guys, and thanks so much for all of the subscribers we've been getting recently, and thank you for watching. Now, that being said, this is Terrifying Tuesday, and it's the last Terrifying Tuesday before Halloween itself. So I thought we would take a look at 5 Halloween-esque movies that you could be watching. So let's jump right into it. Alright, so with Halloween this week, I thought it would be kind of fun to take a look at some movies that were definitely inspired by Michael Myers. We have done the same on this channel in the past. We did this with the Friday the 13th series. We also did it with Terrifier with a couple clown movies that you could watch while you waited for Terrifier to come out. We also have done this with the Nightmare on Elm Street. But this is Halloween, and how can we get by with doing all those movies and not do something similar for this one? So, with Halloween being just around the corner, here are 5 Michael Myers themed horror movies that you could watch, that you may not have even known existed. So first up on our list at number 1 is The Edge of the Axe from 1988. And The Edge of the Axe is about a homicidal axe murderer. And this movie was released 10 years after the original Halloween came out. And it follows this axe murderer who terrorizes a small northern California town in the mountains while 2 computer-obsessed people try to solve the murders. Now, it doesn't sound very much like a Halloween film, does it? But the mask and everything sort of is inspired by Michael Myers. Everything about this movie doesn't necessarily feel like a ripoff, but it was definitely inspired by it. And you could do worse than this movie if you are looking for something to watch that's alternative or just to lead up to you watching all of the Halloween films. Alright, so coming in at number 2 on our list is the 1980 slasher film Terror Train. Now, it's on our list for a couple of different reasons. The main reason actually being that the executive producer of this film sought to make a Halloween movie on a train. That's right, he wanted to legit make a Halloween movie on a train. That's why it is on this list. It is a ripoff by admission. So the plot of this movie is the Northern Illinois University fraternity's New Year's Eve party and a prank. This prank results, of course, in the usual hijinks with the person coming back for revenge. Or is it the same person, because aren't they supposed to be dead? You know how this goes. This is nothing new. However, this film is very noticeable for having Jamie Lee Curtis in the main role. Jamie Lee Curtis actually getting to be the lead in this movie. It also features the killer kind of changing masks as they go along. The most noticeable mask you'll see in the film is the Groucho Marx mask that's worn. That has become the one that's sort of iconic with this movie. But this is a very, very good movie, and you could do a lot worse than this movie. It also stars Sandy Curry, Anthony Sherwood, and David Copperfield. Yes, that David Copperfield. The film is very much that ripoff of Halloween, but it takes place on New Year's Eve. So it's understandable that you may not want to watch this one on Halloween, but save this one for New Year's Eve. In fact, I know we have talked about this movie in lists before, probably on our New Year's Eve list of movies you could watch, but I felt that it deserved a spot here as well, being that it is one of the movies that is a direct, blatant ripoff of Halloween. If you're looking to get into that spirit, this movie does that quite well, despite its setting being different than your usual fare for this time of year. It actually is a very cool little movie with a mystery around it that becomes very intriguing. You end up sort of wondering who did it and why. And you're kind of rooting for the people in this movie, whether or not you know it. Jamie Lee Curtis is equally as lovable in this movie as she is as Laurie Strode in Halloween. And this kind of follows her after she did Halloween. So she went from Halloween to being in a Halloween ripoff on a train, which is pretty cool if you ask me. I rather enjoy this movie a lot and think it is one of the better movies you could watch on this list. And if you've never heard of it or never seen it, you owe it to yourself to check out Terror Train, because you could do a lot worse than to watch this movie, even if you put it in your Halloween watch list. Coming in at number 3 is Nightmare from 1981. And Nightmare from 1981 is also known as Nightmare in a Damaged Brain. And this one centers around an escaped mental institution patient named George, who also is having nightmares. And he escapes, and as soon as he's back on the streets, he can't help but to kill innocent people. But of course, there's one particular family he's going after. This is very similar to Halloween in that way. There's one family particular he's going after. Now, this is one of those movies you might enjoy. You might find it kind of gory. It's okay. This movie is one of the better ones, I think, on this list, at least in terms of story itself. Next up, at number 4, we have Offerings. And Offerings is from 1989. Offerings centers around a young kid who accidentally falls down while playing with a group of kids. Some of them scare him as he's walking along the edge and he falls and hits his head. He ends up killing his mother before being shipped off to a mental institution. Of course, years later, he gets out of the mental institution and he's back on the streets, and he decides to continue the killing spree. The whole time he is being chased by a doctor. Now, what makes this kind of odd is that he is taking body parts and leaving them as gifts for the only girl that was nice to him. Well, that's kind of sweet, ain't it? But the doctor is also very much a ripoff of Dr. Loomis, and the plot is only mildly different from Halloween, actually. Even though it seems like it has quite a few differences, you're definitely going to notice. That brings us to number 5 on our list, Happy Hell Night from 1992. Now, Happy Hell Night takes place with a group of college students, but it is still very much a ripoff of Halloween. It takes place 25 years after a murderous and possibly possessed demonic priest named Zachary Malice murdered 7 college students. When a fraternity prank releases him, he returns to complete his crimes, to just continue on slaying people. Now, this movie has this priest that has this sort of pale face, very much reminiscent of Michael Myers' Mask. It also deals with an escaped mental patient. So yes, there is that too. And everything about this movie kind of screams Michael Myers. In fact, this movie also takes place on Halloween night. So, while this movie is very odd and very strange, it's actually just different enough that it might be a little bit more intriguing to you than some of the other movies on this list. There is another reason to watch this movie. If you are a Sam Rockwell fan, Sam Rockwell has a role in this movie. It's one of his very first movie roles, and you could do worse than to watch it if you're a fan of his, or if you just want that something different to watch on Halloween. Definitely check this one out. But that being said, that's the list of 5 movies you could alternatively watch other than Halloween, or while you're waiting for your Halloween movies to begin. Because everybody knows the day to watch Halloween is on Halloween. And I try to go through the gauntlet of Halloween movies that day. But while I'm waiting, I like to find obscure and strange movies like this. So if you know of any strange, obscure movies that were sort of inspired by the Halloween franchise, and we're not talking about just being based on holidays, because those are actually a dime a dozen and they all owe their story to Michael Myers. We're talking about if you know of any movies that were directly inspired by Michael Myers himself. If there's a movie that has a character that's a blatant ripoff of Michael Myers that I forgot on this list, then definitely let me know. I would like to hear what you guys have to say. And if you've seen any of these movies, what are your favorites? Did you enjoy them? Which ones did you hate? Which ones did you enjoy? As always, we want to know what you guys think, so make sure you are leaving us that comment in the comment box below, letting us know what you think. Also, don't forget to share this video with all of your friends. They're going to want to be a part of this crazy conversation we're having as well. And then make sure you hit that like button. It's free, it helps the channel, and we really do appreciate it. Then Miko says we need more subscribers, and look at this face. You don't want to disappoint Miko, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell while you're down there so you don't miss a single video we do. Then friends, at the end of the day, I know it, you know it, and Miko knows it. Fandom is family.